There we go. Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter there had to do a little bit of technical work there to get on air. What a great day it is to be a Dodger. Mark got a lot of things to talk about. It's the slow part of the offseason as we prepare for the winter meetings. But how you been and what have you been doing since the glorious World Championship for the Dodgers? I thought you were at a birthday party the other night.
Yeah. Actually, turned 60 this last on the 21st. So it's kind of a big day for me.
Awesome.
But, comes quickly, huh?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about both ends of the pendulum. We spent a lot of time Friday night talking about all the innings for each pitcher. We've talked about some of the position battles. I want, you pay attention to it's kind of cool because Austin and I dive deep into every single aspect of the minor league system, from the Carson Hobbses to the guy, the Taylor Youngs, and not that you don't, but you kind of look at the minor leagues as, okay, well, which guys do I actually think might actually help the major league team someday? And you tend to focus in on more of them, whereas we kind of just focus on everybody, right? So I love getting your perspective on this. So what I want to ask you here and what I want to spend a lot of time on tonight is, as a fan who really just kind of views the minor league system as how can it help the major league team, right? Like you, what guys do you want to see this year and in maybe next year in a 2-year window frame help the major league club? Let's start with this year. Which guys that are prospects or in the minor league system do you want to see help the major league team this year?
Well, it's tough because it's obviously going to be tough for any young player to crack the roster this year because of who they already have up there. But you have to consider Taylor Ward as a possibility. As a guy who come up and possibly
talking about Ryan Ward.
Ryan Ward, sorry, not Taylor Ward, Ryan Ward, and possibly be like a fourth outfielder for them, I would think. Ha-Seong Kim, obviously, he was up and down last year, but he should have a good shot to make the roster, I would think. You mentioned somebody like Carson Hobbs. It could be another guy that could possibly make the bullpen for them. So those are a few guys off the top of my head I think that could be possibilities for the Dodgers next year. And then there were a couple of injured guys this last year that like River Ryan is a guy that I think at some point this year could help the big league ball club. And Gavin Stone, obviously, he's pitched a lot of the majors already, but at some point this year, I believe he should be coming back also.
Yeah. So, of any of those guys, do you see everyday roles for any of them? What about Alex Freeland? Are you excited about him, or is he?
Yeah, I mean, Freeland's another guy. I think the second base job could possibly be, a regular second baseman could be up for grabs, and also, possibly Ward. If he does well enough, he could be a starter in the outfield. I kind of tend to doubt that he will be. I think he'll be more, if he does make the roster, he'll be more of a platoon player or a fourth outfielder. But he's a possibility. But either Kim or Alex Freeland could be possibilities at second base too if the Dodgers don't make a trade, or there have been rumors about them going after Bo Bichette or somebody like that. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens there.
If you follow Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network at all, you know how much I love Wardo. I mean, I can talk about Ryan Ward all day. We've interviewed him. We've interviewed him 4 or 5 times. Anytime that I need to know whether or not Oklahoma City, like if it's raining and I want to do interviews, if I need to know whether they're taking BP on the field that day, I always message Wardo and he always gets back to me, either him or Gator, and they do a great. Really? Sometimes Logan Boyer. But anyways, I say that to say nobody is a bigger fan of Ryan Ward than I am. Let me get some video of him up on the board. But let's play devil's advocate, because on this show we have the tough conversations. And yes, I'm a homer for these guys because I develop personal relationships with them and I root for them. And I am not going to ever apologize for that, right? But having said that,
have to.
Having said that, there's also the tough conversations you got to have with them, and that would be, okay, Ryan Ward defensively. I'm gonna say, hey, he's not as bad as I think as he gets a rap for. But having said that, also I'm gonna say that. Can you have Ryan Ward? He's not the greatest defender in left field. Can you have Ryan Ward and Teoscar Hernandez both in your lineup at the same time defensively? Here's some video of Ryan Ward. What would you say to that question?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard different things about Ward's defense, and I think you said it's.
So tell us what you hear. Don't listen to me. Tell us what you hear beyond just kind of on through the grapevine. Yeah,
I mean, beyond what I've heard from you, I've heard that his defense is subpar. It would be subpar on a major league level. If that's the case, then I don't see him getting much playing time on the Dodgers, especially when they already have Teo, who is probably average at best, I would say at this point. I think Teo would be better served being in right field or in left field rather than right field at this point. And he was,
really? Why do you say that?
I just feel like he seemed to have a better year defensively in left field than he did in right field, and his arm is good, but it's not the strongest arm out there. There are some guys who could play right field that would have a stronger arm than him. So I think he would be better served in left field.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of my reservation there is, if you put Wardo out there as an everyday outfielder. Now you have Ryan Ward and Teo in the lineup at the same time, and Andy Pages in center, who does a good job but is not a natural center fielder. So give us your thoughts on that in the chat there. So here's a topic right off the bat, and then we're just going to kind of bounce around because this is a slow part of the year, and we love talking Dodgers baseball, but there's not like 8 different items to get to like we've had in the last couple of shows. So if we bring up some scenarios, that's fine. Just some fun scenarios. That's kind of what this part of the year is for. We don't usually like to get into the what ifs. We like to stick to the factual stuff and then analyze the factual stuff. But there's really not any facts to analyze right now because nothing's happened for a long time. So let me ask you this, Mark. Okay, would lightning strike me if I said, hey, maybe it's not a bad deal to trade Teo and then go get maybe one of your outfielders, a Steven Kwan or somebody, and then let Ryan Ward play? Because if you get a Steven Kwan and you have him or whoever it may be, okay, don't use Steven Kwan. Use Byron Buxton or use Jarren Duran or whatever, and you move Andy Pages to right field. You're substantially better defensively at that point, and then that allows you to put a guy like Ryan Ward in left field who maybe isn't quite as good on defense. So I would say, hey, no Teo and Ward at the same time because that's not good defensively. But if you traded Teo, got a great defender, now you can play Ward. Does that have too much tinfoil on it?
No, I mean, not necessarily. I kind of wonder with Teo whether because I know he had a groin injury earlier in the year, and it makes me wonder whether that really affected him because he did seem to be kind of slow going after balls, especially in the gap a lot of times, the second half of the year. So I wonder, because he did seem to play a lot better the previous year defensively.
Does he get bored?
What was that?
Does he get bored?
I don't think so. I mean, okay. I don't think the Dodgers would allow that. I don't think some people think he may be dogging it a little bit or something out there. And, I don't think the Dodgers are the type of team that would allow that if they knew that he was dogging it. So I suspect that it was more of a case of him being injured and that affecting his mobility and his range out there.
You guys always shoot my ass right back whenever I bitch about Teo. It's hilarious. I love it. I'm like, Teo's driving my ass nuts, man. I can't stand watching this crap. And y'all are like, oh, he's hurt. I mean, you guys just drill my ass on that stuff. I love it.
I mean, I would hope the type of organization the Dodgers are and the type of veteran players that are around him, I don't think they would allow him to dog it necessarily. I have a hard time thinking that was the case with him, but I mean, maybe, it's, you never know, I suppose. But yeah, there were some balls, obviously in the gap and down the line that he just didn't show much range on, or looked like he was not running as fast as he he has ran in the past, so it does kind of make you wonder. But I suppose I think maybe he might be difficult to trade at this point with his salary. In the year, he had a bit of a down year last year, so I could see him maybe doing somewhat of a platoon with Ward in left field, and then them acquiring a right fielder.
Okay, or maybe vice versa. Yeah. Acquired. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so who are you in favor of being the everyday second baseman? I'm going to assume a couple of here's where I'm coming at this from. This is the perspective I'm coming at it from. If you could guarantee me that Tommy Edman is going to be healthy every single day, and that his health is going to allow him to be at least a league average offensive player, and he's going to be healthy enough to play 150 games at second base. He's a Gold Glover. That's a slam dunk. I don't think anybody can guarantee that, and I think him playing every day, it's the same as Miguel Rojas. Yes, he's a good player in the right scenario, but you can't play him every day because he wears down, his body wears down, and he's not going to be healthy. Then he won't become a good player if he's not healthy and does play too much. Right. So I'm not saying Tommy Edman's not the best person to play second base every day. I'm just saying his body hasn't shown that he is capable of doing that and still being an effective player at the same time. So because of that fact, I'm in favor of Tommy Edman being what they actually went and got him for, and that is to being a utility guy. So if Tommy Edman does become a utility guy, a super utility guy, who is the everyday second baseman?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I mean, as we talked about, I could possibly see the Dodgers trading for someone like maybe Bichette or who's the guy in the Cardinals? Brendan
Donovan, yeah.
Brendan Donovan, yeah. He could be a possibility. Someone like that, or Kim winning the job if he's shown improvement. Kim or even Freeland, one of those guys.
Who would you choose between those two?
Between those two, I think Kim probably, I would say, because he's stellar defensively.
Yeah.
And he has great speed. He offers kind of more, brings more to the table, I guess you could say, because he has really, outstanding speed. I would love to see him just learn to hit the ball down more and bunt the ball and get on base, and kind of the old
hit
school.
The ball more, period.
Well,
I'll be more simple than that. Just
obviously.
Hit the ball more.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, he'll come back improved in spring, and maybe he'll be able to win that job.
You gave me a lot of good options, but I asked who would you choose?
Well, I mean, out of all those guys, I would prefer they would trade for Bichette, I would think, if that was a possibility. Some people knock his defense, but I think he would probably be better defensively at second than he would at shortstop. And at this point, I don't think that it would make sense to supplant Mookie Betts there, because Mookie Betts is playing really well defensively. So if they did acquire Bichette, I think that he should move over to second base rather than trying to move Mookie over there. But it remains to be seen whether that's a possibility. I don't know if, what'll happen there. And it's not a trade, actually. He's a free agent, right? So they wouldn't have to trade for him, but it'll be interesting to see what they do there. And I agree with you on Edman, by the way. I think he's better off being a utility guy and playing a little bit at second base, a little bit in the outfield. I would prefer to see Pages in right field. I think he'll be an outstanding right fielder, and then for them to acquire a center fielder. And, going back to the minor leaguers, there's a lot of guys. The Dodgers have a lot of young outfielders, but they're probably at least a year away. Guys like Kendall George and Zaire Hope and, Mike Sirota, a couple different guys like that. So, and then Eduardo Quintero down the line. He may be a couple more years away. But, yeah, they have some really exciting young outfielders in the minor leagues that like I said, probably at least a year away, maybe two. But, yeah.
You got to see Eduardo Quintero with your own eyes, up close and personal. You got to talk to him. You got to be in the dugout with him. This is a guy that really smart baseball people are saying, hey, he might have the most complete game. Because when you say complete game, like Zaire Hope swings too much, like or swings and misses too much. Like Josue DePaul doesn't have the natural launch angle to get the ball in the air and maximize how hard he hits the ball, that kind of deal. So when you look at possibilities of why guys might not end up being the type of player that you hope they are, guys that know a lot more about baseball than me, a lot of them will say, hey, the one guy that has the fewest amount of deficiencies might be Eduardo Quintero, and certainly maybe even the highest ceiling because of just all the myriad of different things that he can do. So,
yeah,
having seen him in person, what were your thoughts of him? And if I make that statement, is that too much of a statement to make about him?
No, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think that as far as like the most well-rounded game is Eduardo Quintero, because he has power. He's a good contact guy. He gets on base. He's good defensively. He has good speed. So I think, from an all-around game, he may have the most upside. I haven't seen a lot of Mike Sirota. He unfortunately he had already moved up, to high A by the time I was going out to the Quakes games much. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see him much. But I think that Josue DePaul, I've heard some things about his defense. Maybe him not being real good defensively. I don't know if he can handle the outfield to be above average defensively in the outfield as a major leaguer. So I'm not sure about that. Kendall George, he's exciting. He's blazing speed, but he hasn't really developed power yet. So
one-dimensional.
So I don't know if the Dodgers would consider, unless he's able to develop some power, whether they would consider him as an everyday outfielder. And then some of the other guys that you mentioned, like Josue DePaul, also not maybe having developing the power on a consistent basis that you would want. But Eduardo Quintero, I would say, probably has the most well-rounded game and the most upside to his game at this point out of the outfielders that are down there. So
strike lightning down on me. Trade Teo. I have no problems with trading Teo. You probably would be, as you said, trading low at this point. I'm fine with that. Strike me down. And then also, let me see if I can explain this properly without everybody unsubscribing from Dodgers Daily here, okay? So, to me, okay, gosh, how do I put this? I'm nervous, Mark. I'm very nervous about how I've got to skate carefully here because I'm getting ready to go into hallowed ground here.
Uh-oh.
Regular season at bats for Kiké Hernandez are wasted at bats. Wasted. The Dodgers don't need him to win games in the regular series, the regular season.
Yeah.
I don't even really think he really gives a crap about his at-bats in the regular season. I love Kiké. I want him on the team. Don't get me wrong. I want him on the team come October.
Right.
But to me, every at-bat that Kiké Hernandez gets in a regular season game is an at-bat that you're taking away from a younger guy that you need to see. Hey, and I'm not saying this younger guy needs to be the future starter at any position for the Dodgers, but every bit of a runway do you give a younger guy. We saw this with Hunter Fiducia, okay, even a James Outman. Every at-bat you give a younger guy in your system makes them that much more marketable because other teams have the ability to actually see, and they're going to look beyond did he get hits. They're going to see did he match the fat. They're going to go behind the curtains and be able to see if that guy actually compares to Major League pitching, and that makes them more valuable, okay? So talk me out of and strike me down on at-bats for Kiké Hernandez in the regular season are wasted at-bats that younger guys need. Am I being too protective of my younger guys?
I don't disagree with you. I know that in the case of Teo and Kiké, they kind of bring a lot of energy to the team. They're kind of they're guys who are really good for the chemistry of the team. They're also guys who help other players out, including younger players. Teo took Paz under his wing, so they bring value beyond what their stats will show, so to speak, and what they contribute on the field. Miguel Rojas is the same way, obviously, but Yeah, with Kiké, I don't disagree with you. I know he's a fan favorite and people love him, and he's amazing in October. So I would sooner see those at bats go to a younger guy too, like someone like Kim, or someone like that, or Ward in the outfield. So yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. And with his surgery, he may not. I'm not sure exactly what his timeline is, but he may miss half the season anyway. I'm not entirely sure. So I think the ideal scenario would be for the Dodgers for him to re-sign, in September or something like that. And so the Dodgers would have him again for the playoff run. So playoff run in the postseason. So with him and obviously I'm pretty sure Teo's going to be on the team, but Kiké, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all.
So we're in this part of the year where it's slow. I'm going to readily admit there's not any facts to analyze, which is what we do on this show. So we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun going into fantasy world. We're going to do that probably for the next month, right? Just having fun with different scenarios and different this, different that. Stuff that we're pulling, that's never going to happen, but it's a hell of a lot of fun to talk about before the calendar hits December, right?
Right.
I mean, why not, right? So Tyler Glasnow getting traded, okay? We are not coming at this from a premise that it's even likely or really even something that we should be talking about, but it's something that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun to talk about. So, okay, if you could guarantee that you get Tarik Skubal back, would you trade Tyler Glasnow?
For Tarik Skubal, yeah, I would say so.
Or if you could just get if you get that not necessarily straight up, but if you get that guy as a replacement.
Yeah,
right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, but I mean, Tarik Skubal is probably one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball. So I think that
is Glasnow that.
I wouldn't say Glasnow's top 5. I mean, I would say he's top 10, top 20 top 20, but. Skubal's on a different level, I would say. And Glasnow, the thing about him too, I mean, he's great. I mean, he was a key factor in the postseason for him, but obviously he's been very injury prone, so that's a huge factor too. So I mean, him and Snell, frankly, they've both been pretty injury prone. So
and Glasnow though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Glasnow's he's been very injury prone.
I thought you were talking about Skubal. Okay.
No. I mean, Glasnow and Snell have both been pretty injury prone, so that's a factor too. I would. I mean, if they traded Glasnow and they were able to acquire Skubal, that wouldn't be a bad not trade, of course, but a bad acquisition for him. So
it just would seem weird to me that the Dodgers. I think really that trade for Ryan Pepiot and Johnny DeLuca. That only got done because they got the 5-year extension, and then to move on from them just after a couple of years of that would seem weird, right? But if you have a chance to get a Tarik Skubal, I think even though the rental aspect of it would be there, I think that's something that you jump in on feet first because, again, it's not just – I'm going to say this again. It's not just, okay, well, we have an immense amount of talent. It takes more than just having better players in the game of baseball. A lot of times – not every time, but a lot of times to win because there's so many different variables in this game. And one thing, I keep saying this, and it is an absolute fact, I'll say it till the cows come home, one of the biggest aspects of the Dodgers going back-to-back was that they did go get Blake Snell. They did go get guys that hadn't won a World Series yet, and Tyler Glasnow had not been a part of a World Series to that point, Hiroki Sasaki, guys like that, guys that were hungry. Right? They didn't just compile the greatest players in the world, which they did do that, but they didn't just do that. They also went and got great players that were also hungry to win World Series championships. So I would say if you got rid of a Tyler Glasnow in a trade, and not a one-for-one trade, but if somehow roundabout you ended up getting Tarik Skubal in return, you're not only adding a guy that's Austin's probably analyzed the numbers better. Let's just say a guy that's an elite pitcher. You're also adding a guy that adds that Blake Snell factor in terms that he's just hungry. He just can't wait to win a World Series, and that plays into the let's not get complacent aspect of it.
Right. And I had this discussion with some people last off season. They were saying, the Dodgers, they don't need to do anything, just keep the same team. And I think that's the surest way to not be able to repeat, basically, is you just stand pat. I think you need to make some changes and as you said, get some guys in that are hungry to win, get some new blood in, and hopefully get some younger guys in, like we're talking about, because just standing pat is not the key to success. I don't think the key to being able to repeat. And, as hard as it is to repeat, it's going to be even harder to do a three-peat. So everybody's really going to be gunning for them, obviously. So I think they do need to make some changes. The core of the team is going to remain the same, but they do need to shake it up a little bit and make some changes, in my opinion. Obviously, the bullpen, I think, is going to be a key area that they're going to need to make some big changes in.
Here is a trade proposal. Again, this is going to be fantasy world. This is going to be fun. This is not our sweet spot. I don't hate doing this. It's fun. I'll admit it's fun, but it's not what we do really. When we do analysis based on things that have happened, but this show's not going to be that. Okay, we don't have anything to analyze. I'm going to keep saying that. Sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to preface everything with that. We're just going to have a hell of a lot of fun with a bunch of different scenarios. And just get kind of a fireside chat going, if you will, on those types of topics. Okay, Emmett Sheehan, Zaire Hope, Dalton Rushing for Tarek Skubal. I would do that, and I would run to that trade if I'm the Dodgers. There would be no doubt about that if it was me.
Right. Yeah.
How about you?
Well, let's see here.
Skubal for Emmett Sheehan, Zaire Hope, and Dalton Rushing. And I have no idea what the values, baseball trade value. I would do that.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair trade. I mean, to get a young catcher has a lot of value with Dalton Rushing. So it makes me a little bit hesitant. But yeah, I think that'd be a pretty fair trade. I think I could see them doing that. And obviously, if they do that and they trade away Glasnow, they'd get some value back for him too. So it's not like you're just losing those three guys because you trade away Glasnow and pick up some prospects or something like that could be, at least comparable to the guys that they're giving up for Skubal. So
yeah. Okay. Now let's deal with facts here. Okay, if I were to ask you what is the number one most glaring weakness that the Dodgers front office has to fix, and they have to fix it with multiple people and at least one elite player, what position would that be for you?
Are you talking about like a position group, like say bullpen or a position on the field?
And by the way, we have a comment here. Yes, I know it would take more than that to get Skubal. That's why I would run to that trade. No doubt about that. Okay, but maybe, I don't know, 1 year rental, who knows? I mean, those are always debatable. But anyways, back to the conversation there.
Yeah,
what group would that be?
For Skubal, they'd probably have to give up one of their elite pitching prospects too in that deal, I would think. But so position-wise, honestly, I really feel like center field is something that they need to upgrade as far as the position players go, and move Paz to right. I would love to see them get someone who's really good defensively in center field and can hold their own hitting also. That'd be a Jaron Duran. Jaron Duran would be perfect. Just seeing Varsho play in the World Series and the way catches he made, I would love to. Obviously he's a Gold Glover, so it's not going to be easy to get a guy like that. But if they could get someone who's close to that caliber, that would be ideal for me. Just as far as a position player, a position that needs to be addressed on the field. I think at second base they have guys that they can. If they have to put Edman there, they can do that, or maybe Kim will win the job. But, center field I think would be ideal, and then move Paz to right. But as far as a position group, if you want to include the bullpen, obviously I think they really need to. Have to. They really how do we do this, Mark? How do we get there? Who do we get? How do we do this? Wow, that's a tough one because I don't know exactly who's available. And then, Scott is obviously going to be around, but you can't rely on him. You're going to hope that he bounces back, but who knows? They have a lot of young guys.
You are not a fan of Tanner Scott, by the way.
What was that?
You are not a fan of Tanner Scott, by the way. He pisses you off to no end.
The 2025 Tanner Scott for sure. Hoping the 2026 version is going to be a lot better, and maybe he'll bounce back. And the Dodgers, they've had a lot more success with guys kind of like reclamation projects than signing high-priced relievers, because relievers seem like they're notoriously inconsistent from year to year, and that obviously that was the case with Scott this year. So I don't know who's available. Suarez, I think, is a guy that they could maybe bring in.
Devin Williams, Pete Fairbanks.
Yeah, Fairbanks maybe, someone like that. But they obviously need to add some guys. They do have some young guys that are coming back, like I mentioned, like River Ryan is someone who could possibly help in the bullpen. I do think they're going to make Sasaki. I think they're going to move him back to being a starter, Sasaki. I don't think they're going to keep him in the bullpen. Mm-hmm. But if they did keep him I think he could handle the closing job pretty well if they had to put him there. He looked like he could towards the end of last year. So,
yeah. So we have a comment here from Chuck Huddleston. I saw a few negative comments from Red Sox fans on X today about Jarren Duran being a head case. Does anyone know if that's true? So when they say head case, they don't mean like he's an asshole or he's a cancer or he's a bad teammate. What they mean is he's not very confident and he gets kind of in his own head, if you will. And then when he gets in his own head, he gets into his own feelings and he gets frustrated. He loses his confidence. In baseball, they teach you that even keel. Hey, no matter whether that's why people get so frustrated with Dave Roberts. It's like, dude, we're losing by 6 runs and you just put in some guy in the bullpen that just gave up 4 runs and you don't even look like it's bothering. Well, it is bothering him, but he is modeling the behavior that you teach all of your players, which is even keel, right? Mm-hmm. And Jarren Duran, the best way that I can put that, has a football mentality. So football mentality type guys, and this is what Bobby Miller fights, okay? This is what Landon Knack fights. Football mentality guys, whenever they start having failure, they want to try harder. They want to increase their emotional energy level. And it's almost like when you put into a wrestling move, and the harder you try, the worse it gets. And the further you get into that move, that's what baseball does to you.
Right.
So Jarren Duran has a tendency to go into a slump and then really start pressing with that football mentality. And then when he starts pressing, he starts just getting into his own emotions. He starts getting into his own head. And that's what they mean by a head case. Great dude, great teammate, just a guy that has not really, he's gotten a lot better at it, but still probably will never master the even keel of baseball.
Yeah, baseball is so unique in that way. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I've played ball, during my life, and I've played with guys who are like that, and it's like, you even see fans that talk about that, like play harder, and you can't just play harder in baseball. You have to, like you said, you have to maintain that even keel, and it's such a mental game that
you can work harder.
Yeah, you can work harder, but if your emotions get too high, like you're talking about, it's counterproductive. So I can totally see what you're talking about, and some guys, they definitely do get inside their own head and start thinking about things too much or start pressing too much, and it's really easy to do that, and so. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you might be right. He's not too many guys that have that mentality are able to be consistent. I think back like Kirk Gibson, he was able to somehow channel that and still be very successful, obviously at baseball, even though he was a football player as well. But you don't see too many guys do that. Yeah.
So okay, let's say this. You're very familiar with the minor leaguers. And I'm not saying Ryan Ward's subpar. I've watched Ryan Ward several different times. He is not a sub. Is he a great outfielder? No. Is he a subpar outfielder? Absolutely not. And if you don't believe me, just go to the Chris Gutierrez conversation we had. He was his professional coach. He will tell you that that's a tag that he's gotten, that may have been true at one time, but is not now. So is he a great defender? Absolutely not. He has an average arm. He's going to be an average defender, but subpar, I would not go as far to say subpar. I think that's way too negative a connotation, and I would say somebody who makes that comment about Ryan Ward has not invested time in watching his progression as an outfielder defensively. That's what I would say to him. And if I'm getting defensive with that, that's fine, because I have seen his growth all the way back from 2021 at Great Lakes to Tulsa for a couple of years to Oklahoma City. And to be honest with you, the guy's worked his ass off to make himself at least an average outfielder, right? So kind of my only, what I was trying to say there was to have him in the outfield and Teo both, probably neither one of them great defenders. At best, you're hoping they're average defenders on any one given night. I think that's a tough outfield to have together, whereas I think if you have one of them out there, either one of them out there, hoping that they're both either one of them an average outfielder, I think you need to surround them with another great outfielder at the other corner, especially if you have Andy Pages in center. Does that make sense? Did I get too defensive there?
No, that totally makes sense. And as I mentioned, I've not personally seen Ward play very much, or even seen a lot of clips of him playing defensively. So you tend to see a lot of minor leaguers. You see their at bats, but you don't see them. Yes, their defensive play. So it's hard to really know exactly how good they are defensively until they come up. And even someone like Michael Conforto, I heard a lot of people knock his defense, and I thought he was a decent defensive outfielder. He made some pretty good plays out there. I would say he was average defensively, so maybe if Ward is kind of in that category, it wouldn't be the worst thing. But yeah, as you said, and I mentioned earlier, I would like to see Pages, for them to get a really good defensive center fielder and move Pages to right field. That would be ideal, I think.
Yeah. Like Teo in left, Byron Buxton center, Jaron Durant, somebody like that, Andy Pages in right field. Now you have a very, very good outfield and a hitting outfield that is at the very least very explosive, can really take over games.
Yeah,
and
Buxton would be an exciting pickup, but he has been very injury prone, so that gives me a little pause as far as that goes. But yeah, it would be exciting if they acquired him anyway.
And the boom and bust part of him worries me. I worry about him adding to the inconsistencies of this offense, adding also to the explosiveness of it, no doubt. Right. But, we saw the Dodgers not score a lot, and a lot of that was because they relied on the home run and didn't do anything in between home run and zero, right? And so I think he would add to that. That's another hesitancy that I have on him. That's another argument I make for a Stephen Kwan type. Not that he's a better player, but that he actually has the type of profile that will fill in some of the gaps, the fit gaps that the Dodgers need offensively. We talked about that a lot. Okay, so who are the guys that either are on the 40-man or around the 40-man that, in your opinion, from the Dodgers' perspective, to be able to maximize their value, because if they stay in the system too long, they're going to age out, and you're not going to get the value out of them that you need. Like, for instance, Dalton Rushing, you could have got Garrett Crochet for. I would say no matter what happens, unless he becomes the everyday catcher, because you didn't trade him for Garrett Crochet, you're never going to be able to maximize your value like you could have if you didn't trade him for Garrett Crochet. That's my opinion. You can disagree with that. But having said that, who are the guys in the system that the Dodgers need to trade? Because if they don't, they're going to start losing value, and the Dodgers won't be able to maximize them. And then also on the other side, it would also be the best for the player themselves. Who are those guys? Give me, say, 5 to 10 names that you can think of right off your head.
Right. Well, I mean, they are going to have a glut in the outfield probably, like we mentioned.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are some guys, like you mentioned, Zaire Hope is a guy that they could conceivably end up trading, maybe Josue de Paula. If they don't feel like he's going to be he's not going to be able to cut it or be as good defensively. He's a guy.
You just went to Hope and DePaula right off the bat. Them's fighting words right there, Watkins.
I know, and I like those guys a lot too. Yeah. But if there's a glut in the outfield, and if they value Quintero, say for instance, more than they do Zaire Hope or Sirota as an example, then I could see that possibly happening. Josue DePaula, if depending and like I said, I haven't really seen him play defense that much. So depending how they feel about him defensively, he's a guy, because first base and DH are going to be locked up the next couple of years. So I think does Freddie have 2 more years left? I think he has 2 more years left, right, on his contract. So
I'm terrible at that. That's not
my. I believe he does. I believe he does have 2 years left. So. So first base and DH are not going to be possibilities for Josue DePaula in the next couple of years. But those 2 guys rushing, as you mentioned, they have some pitchers that are, are they going to be able to keep Sheehan, Robleski, and guys like, say, River Ryan or Kyle Hurt, those type of guys? They could conceivably trade 1 or 2 of those guys at some point. And Gavin Stone, when he comes back, assuming he comes back healthy, he's a guy that could, I think, be a trade chip.
Got 2 more years for Freddie. 2
more years. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, yeah. So, that's not a possibility for Josue DePaula to play those positions. Unless he can play outfield, he could be a possibility. The way he's progressed, and he's still so young, I would hate to see them trade him away. I hope that he can handle the outfield defensively, because he can hit. I mean, he has an amazing hit tool, so it would be exciting to see him come up in the next couple of years.
Here's my reservation with a guy like an Edwin Diaz. You mentioned, what's your biggest concern about relievers?
Inconsistency. Yeah. Right, from year to year.
So the worst thing you can do with a reliever position, with the volatilities year by year about how they might or might not perform, is to oversign them, to overpay. I don't mind overpaying for them in money, because I just don't think the Dodgers can run out of money. Mm-hmm. But I just can't go for the free agency aspect of it for me, in terms of the bullpen is hard for me, because I just can't get on board with much more than about 3 years for a reliever. I mean, because if that reliever is volatile, if you get 1.5 good years out of them, the Dodgers win 2 World Series, great. You got if Tanner Scott rebounds and gives you a 1.5 years, great. Okay. But man, if you sign 7 or 8 years on a reliever and he's volatile and hurt, I don't know. So Edwin Diaz, yes, great, but I'm more in the go get the guy that you can get for about 3 years, or go trade for a guy that you can get a contract that's 2 to 3 years remaining. I would rather give up the prospects than the years. Am I off there?
No, I agree with you. And the Dodgers have been pretty good about that, because, since the front office took over, the current regime, I guess you could say, of the front office, they've been better about not giving out long-term contracts to a lot of guys who might not do well with them, because in previous decades, I guess, for the Dodgers, we've seen them hand out long-term contracts and be paying somebody like, on the position player level, someone like Bobby Bonilla forever. You remember that contract. But they had some pitchers also who were kind of not really elite pitchers, and they ended up giving them long-term deals, and then they had to eat the contract for the last few years of it. So I agree with relievers. I would be very reluctant to give any of them more than 3 years. Even with Tanner Scott, they're stuck with him and just have to hope that he bounces back next year.
It just, to me, it signals to Pete Fairbanks. I'm with, who is that here in the chat here? I think that's Christopher Navarro. Pete Fairbanks, I think you can get for. I don't care about the money, right? In terms of, is it however total value of whatever it may be, but I think you can get Pete Fairbanks on that 2 to 3 year deal, right? I mean, that's where I'm looking at, as far as, Austin's always said the worst investment you can make is to give away prospects for relievers, because they are volatile. And then on the other end of that, the worst thing you can do is sign long-term contracts for a reliever because they're volatile. Then my question is, well, how in the hell do you get an elite reliever, right? Well, you don't if you're not going to do one of those two.
Right.
So, you know, either you're going to have to give up a lot of prospects or you're going to have to pay a lot of years. I think the sweet spot here is Pete Fairbanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be a good pickup for him. And the Dodgers, I mentioned earlier, they've had some success with guys that are kind of like reclamation projects, or coming back from injury, that type of thing, or just finding diamonds in the rough, like young guys, that can come in and help them out. But like I was thinking of an example, Blake Trinan, came in and he's pitched really well for him, and then getting Alex Vesia was a big pickup for them. So some of those guys, sometimes those reclamation projects, they can sign like 5 guys to even the minor league deals and come in and maybe they're coming back from injury and come back and really make an impact.
If you can get Pete Fairbanks for 2 years and Devin Williams for 3 years, man, that'd be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? I know Devin Williams had his struggles last year. I know he gives up home runs, but to me, that would be all I want for Christmas. I'm good with anything else. You can say to hell with left field, fine. We've got plenty of second baseman and outfielder, this and that. Okay, but if you go get Devin Williams, Pete Fairbanks, I think Devin Williams 3 years, Pete Fairbanks 2 years. Even if you have to go 3 years of Pete Fairbanks, I'm great with that. What say you to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy with that. I think that would be a good pickup. I mean, last year coming into the season, I'll be honest, I thought they were so well set with Scott and Kirby Yates. They picked up those 2 guys and were both outstanding the year before. But as we talked about, you have that volatility or that inconsistency with the relievers from year to year, so you don't know what you're going to get. Brock Stewart is still on the roster, so we'll see how he looks next year and whether he can contribute too. But yeah, I mean, I'd be happy, pretty happy with those 2 guys, Fairbanks and Devin Williams. Yeah, I mean, Devin Williams, obviously, he's another guy that, like as you mentioned, he wasn't great last year, so he'd have to bounce back a little bit, but he has outstanding stuff.
Yeah.
And someone like Suarez or Edwin Diaz, you'd be kind of rolling the dice because you're probably going to have to give him like a 5-year deal or something like that. Yeah. So I'd be more inclined to go after someone like Fairbanks myself too.
Yeah. So Bruce Davis is saying no Williams, he's worse than Tanner Scott. Do you believe that?
Who's no worse than Tanner Scott?
He's saying that Devin Williams is worse than Tanner Scott.
Oh, worse than Tanner Scott. It's hard to tell with these relievers because, we talked about, the inconsistency from year to year.
He's due to be Devin Williams again.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'd be, like I said, I'd be reluctant to invest that much money and that many years in him too, as it might take. I mean, like you said, maybe we'll get him for 3 years, which wouldn't be too bad, I guess. But just don't know what you're going to get with him. Yeah,
and that's kind of the deal is you don't know what you're going to get with any of them, and so the longer term deal, the harder it is to get to. So at least the harder it is for me to be okay with. And we have a comment here too. I like the comments here that the split finger guys out of the bullpen. Gosh, the splitter is such a feel heavy pitch. Even the changeup, just not even splitter, such a feel heavy pitch. In big moments, it's so easy to lose the feel. That is so hard to throw for strikes. Guys spit on it. I'm just not real big on high leverage guys relying on split fingers.
Yeah, I think they need to have other pitches available, like Sasaki. I mean, he can throw. Besides having a split finger, he can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball with movement, and he has a good curveball. So, I think if they're relying too much on the splitter, it's not a good thing. So, I would agree with that.
Yeah. My deal is, and good comment here from Bruce. If you want to three-peat, you got to get the best closers, Diaz and Fairbanks. First of all, if Devin Williams goes back to his form, he's as good as those guys or can be. definitely in that ballpark. And two, I want to see the Dodgers win the World Series every year for the next 25 years, not just three-peat. So, yes, one of the things that have made the Dodgers such a great organization is that since Andrew Friedman has taken over, it's been the restraint. They haven't got, that same argument, there were people, let's go get Juan Soto. Well, I would make the argument that the Dodgers have won these World Series and been in contention every single year, probably been the favorite every single year for however long now, because they haven't gotten the Juan Sotos, because they haven't signed the stupid deals for the relievers that are way too long of contracts or way too expensive, because they have shown restraint. So my pushback to that is I actually think it's the exact opposite. I think the Dodgers have been so successful and been in position to win 2 World Series in a row and now a chance at a three-peat because they haven't went and signed those guys. That would be my pushback. Am I wrong there?
Well, I think they have shown restraint. They've gone after guys who are high character guys that also are good both offensively and defensively for the most part. The ones that they're going to sign to long-term deals, like if you look at Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, those guys are high character guys, and they're elite defensively and offensively. So the guys that they signed to the really long-term deals, and I think that was a big issue with Juan Soto, is that, yeah, he's a great hitter. He's one of the top 5 hitters, I would say, in baseball, but his defense is pretty shaky at times. So from that standpoint, I don't think it made sense because they can't put him at DH. So I think they've shown restraint in the guys that they do the really long-term deals for. They're well-rounded and good high character guys.
Yeah. Bruce Sutter, Hall of Famer. He was a split finger guy, no doubt about that. I would like to see those guys like Greg Maddux and those guys that lived on the periphery or moved the ball a lot like that. I would like to see how they do in today's generation, to where you have the box on there and you get scorecards, and now you're going to have a challenge system. And if the ball actually isn't a strike, you can't call it a strike anymore, because if you do, you there's a scorecard to it. Bruce Sutter was absolutely awesome. I grew up watching him with the Cardinals, no doubt.
Yes.
The Cardinals in this area, they were the only team on radio. If you wanted to listen to a Major League game on radio, they were the only ones you could listen to. So there are a million Cardinal fans in this area. My best friend of all time played for the Cardinals in the 70s and 80s. He caught Bruce Sutter. So trust me, I'm a huge Bruce Sutter fan, okay?
Right.
I would be curious to see those kind of guys that pitch like that, how they would do to these modern-day strike zones that are generated based off of the box that you see on TV. I'd be interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. That would be interesting to see. I mean, there have been some successful guys. I think Lee Smith is another guy who threw primarily through a splitter. Yeah, he was an awesome reliever. I remember Mike Scott too on the Astros. Yeah. He had an outstanding splitter. So, yeah, there've been a few guys who have been very successful. But nowadays I think you have to maybe have a little more of a repertoire.
Plus there's more information. Like guys, nowadays they know, hey, if that splitter comes out at this height, it's 97% of the time it's a ball, right? Or they know exactly what height to tunnel the splitter off of. I mean, it's a whole different ball game nowadays,
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, it's definitely tougher for pitchers nowadays. The hitters are so advanced. You don't have a lot of the 220 hitting shortstops and middle infielders and catchers that you had back in those days.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's do this before we wrap it up. I got to get out of here. It is Sunday night, and it is 9:30 my time. I know it's 7:30 your time, Mark, and I actually have to get off the horn, and I got to talk to the don't have to. Don't ever let me say that. It's a wonderful opportunity that I get to talk to the Great Lakes pitching coach, Sean Coyne. Going to talk to him as soon as we get off here. Release that interview sometime this week. Tomorrow, going to release our interview with Kevin LaChance, the hitting coach for the Great Lakes Loons. So this is all about the Great Lakes Loons coming up at lunchtime this week. So super excited about that. Okay, so give me your starting 9. Let's say that you have to say, okay, who is your starting everyday 9 players no platoons, who are your 9 players, and who are your top 2 targets out of the bullpen that aren't on the roster right now. Let's end with that.
Okay. So you're talking about 9 players, including players that they could acquire, you're talking about?
Yes. Who would be your dream team to start the season?
Yeah, man, it's hard to know like who's available. For instance, like in center field, I know another guy we talked about a little bit is Cody Bellinger, possibly coming back. I mean, I think he could be a guy that could fill in maybe for a couple years, while the other young outfielders are, progressing through the minors. And like I said, I would like to have Pages in right field rather than center field. So if they could acquire somebody for center field, that would be ideal. But I guess I would say if they could, obviously you're going to have Will Smith at catcher, Freddie Freeman at first base. Ideally, I would like to see Kim win the second base job, and have Edmund be a utility player. But if they could acquire Bo Bichette, I would prefer that overall. And then obviously Mookie and Muncy on the left side. And then I think move Teo to left field. And if they could acquire Jaron Duran for center field, that would be my preference. Because Buxton's talented, but too injury prone. And then move Pages over to right field. So as far as the 9 starters, that would be my preference out of the guys that I've heard are available. So, and then as far as for the bullpen,
I like the way you're thinking, Mayor. That's big time. I like the way that you're just fitting the pieces together as far as what you want to see in terms of style on that kind of thing. Very, very well done there.
All right. Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I'm a guy who values speed and defense. So that's why.
Oh yeah. That's what I mean. That's what you knew where I was getting to. Yeah.
Kim and Duran,
I like the balance of what you just went with there.
Oh, good. Yeah. And as far as relievers go, I mean, Williams does give me a little bit of pause. I could see,
yes,
like say maybe Fairbanks and Suarez, if they can get Suarez to maybe accept a 3-year deal. I think Edwin Diaz is going to be too expensive and want too many years, but maybe they can get Suarez on a 3-year deal and also bring in Fairbanks. And I think that would set up their bullpen pretty well.
Yeah. I definitely think they have to address it. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah. So how long do you think of a deal do you think Suarez is going to want?
He's probably going to want a 5-year deal, and there may be some teams out there that would give it to him, but maybe some guys are they want to win enough that they'll accept a contract for lesser years, and then come back and get another big contract after a few years. So maybe he'd be willing to do that, but we'll see how that goes. All
indications are 3 years plus, more than 3 years with Suarez. So maybe the Dodgers could talk them into it if they threw some sweetness into that deal. So hey, Mark, what an awesome job you did tonight, man. Haven't got a chance to talk to you in a long time.
Thank you.
Absolutely awesome thoughts, well thought out. Lots of game planning behind the way you're thinking there. You can tell you've already kind of accumulated or just kind of racked the stuff up in your mind and categorized it, kind of put your plan together. So awesome job, dude.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think about the Dodgers probably way too much, but it's always
hey, and by the way, we need to not tonight because we don't have time, but we need to next time we have you on. We need to talk about that event. What was that event you went to the other day where Steven Nelson and Oral and those guys were there?
Yeah, that was ESPN LA held a kind of a live event where they. It was a lot of fun. They had Miguel Rojas out there and Oral Hershiser. Was at I think it's called Legacy Sports in Claremont, California. So that was a lot of fun, and just having them interview Miguel Rojas and go through his his thoughts during the World Series and what it meant. He got choked up a couple times and just talking about it. So he seemed like a very humble, just a great guy, So it was a lot of fun.
You like the tower buzzers?
Yeah, I don't know if I should say it. But I mean, I'm not particularly fond of that name. I feel like I don't know. It's
Quakes
kind of
was awesome, man. It sucks to lose that name, but you had to because the Quakes are staying in Rancho and they're going to be the Angels now.
Right. Yeah, maybe the name will grow on me, but yeah, I feel like they could have maybe came up with a better name than that, but yeah.
People always think that in name changes. It's funny with minor league baseball. So, hey, Mark, great job. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Casey. Great talking with you as always, and thanks for everybody listening.
As always, you Dodgers dogs are the absolute best. It's a great day to be a Dodger.